Thanks, Ken. Thanks, everyone, for being here this afternoon. We'll go ahead and get started. Quick intro on my side. My name is Corah. I'm on the public sector team here at Procore, and I cover Northern California. But my career actually started up in the Bay Area in the engineering and construction industry. I worked for a design-build mechanical contractor for about 4 years, and then moved over to Siemens, where I was on their building automation controls team. And that's what really got me immersed in the public sector vertical. I was working with local VA campuses, NASA Ames down in Mountain View, and some of the local school districts on their bond programs. So just really excited to be here today talking innovative solutions. And with that, I welcome up my guest. I'm joined by Doug Brenning, Chief of the Construction, Inspection, and Management Branch for the California Department of General Services. Thanks so much for being here today, Doug. Can you give us a little background on yourself, your agency, and your role at DGS?
Thank you, Tyler. I'm happy to be here and share my story of our digital transformation in my department to a new future. I work for the Department of General Services, and I'm the branch chief of the Construction, Inspection, and Management Branch. We are in a real estate services division, so in that division, we manage all the real property assets, program and project management, construction contracting, construction oversight and observation, and turn over to the client. I have 4 area offices, 2 in Southern California, 2 in Northern California, and I'm located in Sacramento at headquarters. And I might get boos, but go Kings. So all of my staff are construction supervisors. They are responsible for code compliance inspections, making sure that the quality is what was specified, and that the contractor is complying with all the contract requirements. So they're on all active construction projects full-time, virtually. So I'm an architect by trade. I have 43 years experience. I've seen huge transformations in technology, and so it was pretty exciting. So we knew that we were going to be expected to do more very quickly with just the labor resources that we had. So the director challenged me to investigate technology, to increase efficiency and transparency, and find out what we could implement that would include our clients and stakeholders. So that led us to the transformation to a digital and cloud-based solution, and it was really dramatic. It removed all these inefficient processes we had. My staff were entering daily logs in their reports, and they had to use 4 applications to generate that report and get it out to everybody. So it was pretty dramatic. The digital solution streamlined the communication, made their job immensely easier, removed all the inefficiency, and eliminated a lot of paper. We're probably seeing about 75 to 80% reduction in paper space just with this one solution.
Yeah, I love to hear that. Your director was kind of the one that challenged you to go look for something like that.
Right.
And Doug, just to go a little bit deeper on that, how many projects do you have going at any time, and across how many different regions within the state?
Well, as I said, we have 4 area offices. We have 170 active construction projects right now. And the construction contract value for all of those is just over $3 billion. So we have a lot of work going on right at this moment. We work on telecommunications towers, skilled nursing facilities, DMV headquarters, CHP field offices, all kinds of buildings and structures out there. One of the things I'm excited about, one of the other reasons why I've come to LA, is tomorrow I'll be going over to the California Science Center, and I'll be visiting the construction site for the Phase 3 Space Shuttle Endeavour project. I'm sure everyone remembers the space shuttle coming through LA. It's at California Science Center, but it's in a horizontal installation. So this structure that is going to be built will house the space shuttle in its vertical position with the fuel pod and the rocket boosters as if it's ready to take off. So what will end up being a 20-story structure without any horizontal members. This is going to be a complete enclosure around the space shuttle. It's a phenomenal engineering feat, and so I'm looking forward to seeing that tomorrow. So we work with 24 state agencies in my department, and we interact with all the stakeholders. So it was really key for us when we were looking for digital solutions was to find something that would encourage involvement of everybody on the project, which means if I remove a cost barrier that would discourage someone from working with us in our system, the better. So ultimately, we found a solution where we have unlimited users and limited data, and encourages involvement by everyone. There's no reason not to work with it because it's very easy to use. So currently we have about 2,000 users in our system right now at this point.
Wow. Yeah, and there's so much history behind that, the space shuttle project. So super cool to have DGS involved in that. It's also amazing that your agency is able to manage all these different programs going on at the same time across the state. Which brings me to my next question, which is kind of two parts. How are your teams, your inspectors, leveraging technology out in the field, and how does that impact the quality of your projects or level of oversight you're able to provide?
The digital solution that we selected also had a mobile application capability, which means that my staff were able to complete their work, do their daily logs, conduct inspections, take photos, everything that they need to do on a project site with their smartphone. And also, all the other users on the project also are able to use the mobile tool. So there's no loss of data. We take an immense amount of photos because photo documentation is equally important as the written word. So even if they're in a location where they don't have cellular communication or no Wi-Fi access, they can still enter the information and take these photos. And as soon as they're back in cellular tower range, the data will automatically go back and sync into the project itself. So there's no loss of data. And all the stakeholders on the project also can submit, a big change was subcontractors could submit inspection requests to us. Their QA/QC managers could be walking across a construction site and via text-to-talk or talk-to-text translation, submit an inspection request to us. And it would immediately go out to all the stakeholders. And so for that increased transparency, that means that the contractor and my managers are also able to track those inspection requests and collect the data on these inspection requests. If we see high failure rates, we can collect that data, analyze it, provide it to the contractor so he can take some corrective actions so that we avoid that. The other big part about it is all the contract drawings, all the specifications, RFIs, submittals, change orders, all of these things are also within the digital solution. So that also means with their tablet or their smartphone, they could be out on a project site, they could be in a building, they needed to find out a particular detail or some specification requirements, which before they may have had to go back to the trailer to get. Now they can just access it right on their mobile tablets or their smartphones. So it's pretty dramatic. Last year, it's dramatic for me and my managers as well. So last year we had a contractor in Southern California lost control of a re-roof project, and a major rate event came in. This was at a state hospital. The rain went in and damaged the interior of the building, and of course our client agency is screaming at us, what are we going to do? So from Sacramento, myself and my managers were able to look at the photos, daily logs, all the reports, the contract documents, figure out how it happened and what measures we needed to take to correct it and prevent further damage. And we were able to get those answers back to the client agency very quickly. which was phenomenal in resolving that problem. It was pretty dramatic, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that background. I mean, there's been a lot of talk around, data here today. That real-time data, it's just so important to catch issues, be able to report on. And there's actually a statistic going around right now from our good friends and partners in Avocado that only 5% of construction data is leveraged to make informed decisions in the future. And me being from construction in the industry myself, it's a tough process. So we need to up that number, and it's super. I'm glad to hear that your team's being able to use data for that. Also love to hear that it saved you a trip down to LA and just being able to access that stuff from your phone and from your computer. Something as simple as a digital tool, kind of keeping you, giving you more time with your family. It's important. So Doug, any software or any new solution, it has a cost associated with it. In your case, how did you justify this cost upwards to leadership and the rest of your agency?
That is usually normally a very difficult thing to do, but when we calculated the fact with the annual subscription cost, all it would have to do is save 12 hours a year per person. We're easily saving 2 to 3 hours a week per person, and that's not even figuring all of the additional users are able to access the system and utilize that, which gives us a bigger even return on investment. We're able to provide additional value to our clients and the stakeholders. We had recently LA County and had a task to do a wind down project of a project called Project Room Key, which was a temporary project to help the homeless during the pandemic outbreak and provide housing. It involved 34 hotel properties. We had to, they came to us, ask them to help them with surveys, to survey each room and space so that they could return these properties back to the owner. They brought us a paper survey form, which they used originally to evaluate the conditions before they assumed those properties. So quickly, we were able to leverage one of the tools in our digital solution. We recreated their checklist in our digital solution. They were able to conduct the surveys in the field with their smartphones, and even better, at the end of the day, all of that data was immediately available to the executives and analysts at the county, so they could quickly start figuring out what they needed to do and what was ahead of them to return these properties. It was pretty dramatic, and then shortly after we helped LA County with that, LA City also then had a similar requirement. They had to do a wind down project also, and we already had the solution for them in hand. And as far as I know, we completed over 2,000 surveys for LA County, or they did actually. So it was very, very, very valuable.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome that you could just kind of invite those different stakeholders into your license like that. And then finally, I know we're at time here, but last question for you, Doug. As organizations start to seek out digital tools, what's the one piece of advice you'd give to them when considering an investment in digitization?
Well, as in my case, we had no access to data, and it was a very manual process. So knowing what problems I was trying to fix, what inefficiencies, what processes and workflows we wanted to correct, what information you need access to so that you can make good business decisions. So finding out what you're trying to correct and what you need would be one of the key things. And one of the things that we started with when we were evaluating digital solutions was we had a very focused group, my managers, evaluating different solutions, and then when we realized that we couldn't just spring this change out to my whole organization immediately. So we did what we call a phased rollout. On the phased rollout, we select individuals and projects in each region and worked with them over a 3-month period, received their questions, worked through any bugs that they discovered, and then at the end of that effort, we're able to do full implementation. And really, actually, the good part about that is that those initial users became our advocates. So they were able to tell the other staff, and believe me, my inspectors have a network that's faster than the internet. So they were able to ease that anxiety or that resistance that we were expecting.
Yeah, and then just lastly, did you have to hire a consultant to roll this out, or did you just do this all internally at DGS?
Initially worked with the implementation team for the digital solution, and once they had us going and that we really understood the system, we were able to incorporate everything we needed and make it work for our organization. So it did not take that much. And so on a digital solution, it's also key to make sure that you've got access to good tutorials and good resources so that you can always go back and take a look at those as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Doug. Thank you for your time, and thank you, everyone. Enjoy lunch and the rest of your day.